Welcome to Turning the Page, a Lexington Public Library podcast. I'm Mariam Adarat.
And I'm Erin West. If you love the library because of books, the programs, and the people behind both, then this is the podcast for you.
And even if you don't, there's still fun to be had. We will bring you the latest book releases that are worth checking out, figuratively and literally.
And we will discuss all of the happenings at the library to look out for.
And of course, what would a library podcast be without a special guest? We will get to know some special authors that are making an impact on our local literary scene.
Whether you're listening to us in your car while washing dishes or snuggled up with a warm drink, we are grateful for your time and hope you enjoy.
The Teen Howl Poetry Series was founded in 2011, originally hosted by published authors Elizabeth Beck and Jay McCoy. The organizing torch has been passed to Teen Howl alumni Jessica Taylor and Hunter Nelson. The monthly event is an open mic opportunity for the under 21 crowd that meets the first Thursday of every month at 3rd Street Stuff and Coffee in Lexington, Kentucky. At each meetup, they feature a young poet or howler, as well as an adult reader. Some of the headliners include notable names such as Frank X. Walker, Ada Limon, Tina Andre, and many others. On today's episode, we are excited to have with us Jessica Taylor, a Teen Howl alumni, to discuss the poetry series and how you can get involved. We also have Grace Tomazic, a current Teen Howler, and you can read some of her work in the latest Teen Howl Anthology, Smudged. All right, welcome Jessica Taylor and Grace Tomazic, is that right?
Yes.
All right, thank you guys so much for joining us on the podcast to talk about Teen Howl. Jessica, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself? Are you from Lexington and how you got started in poetry?
Sure, yeah. I could say I'm pretty much from Lexington. I moved here when I was 8 years old, but my family's from here. And I went to all the public schools, went to LTMS and then Tate's Creek, and it wasn't really until, though, high school when I got really into writing. I was always into music and playing my saxophone, but my aunt gave me a journal at one point to, I don't know, probably help with feelings and deal with crushes or something. And then it morphed into poetry in high school. I got really into, I always thought poetry had to be really complex, like with sonnets and all these rhyming schemes, but like a simple poem by like The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams, that really just like, oh, it can be so simple and so beautiful at the same time. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Not as intimidating as a sonnet would be. So I got really into it. And then my high school teacher told me about Teen Howl Poetry Series, which was originally at the Morse Bookshop. I don't know if y'all remember that, or it's in Chevy Chase. And it was a beautiful little bookshop. And we would all meet in the back corner, and Elizabeth Beck and Jay McCoy were the ones who began Teen Howl. And the purpose was to essentially give an opportunity to young writers to come out and meet the other young writers in the community outside of school, and also get to listen to published poets in the bluegrass area, which there is a plethora of. Yes. It's pretty amazing. So really seizing the opportunity, and I just fell in love with poetry there and the ability to share something that felt really personal, but then sharing it out loud, all of a sudden, oh, hey, they've been through that too.
Yeah.
That was just so powerful. And so being able to kind of continue that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, we've talked about this before on the podcast, Erin, but it's amazing to me how when I meet local authors, how willing they are to reach out to up-and-coming authors and help them up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Give them a platform, just kind of show them the way. And it's really amazing how this community is so supportive of each other. How was that element of local writership imperative to you as a writer?
So important. I mean, I got to listen to so many different voices so early on. And being a lover of nature in Kentucky and getting to know other people feel the same way about where you're from was really cool. And then also just being invited to the adult open mics essentially after that. So when Howler Poetry Series was happening at Alice Bar, kind of probably snuck in there a little bit younger than I should have, but that's it's all good.
Yeah.
And so getting to hear folks on that level, it helped me realize that writing is not so intimidating, and also knowing also all the opportunities in Lexington to get involved, like the Carnegie Center, or just being able to sit and meet with a published poet, but it's just someone else here just sharing their own words on the stage as well. So it kind of leveled the playing ground a little bit, made me feel more comfortable to try it myself.
Who are some of your inspiration, whether that's local poets or nationally known?
Yeah, an easy one who's always an inspiration to me today is probably Katerina Stokova, because her work is beautiful, but also the way that she's really, really cares about the poetry community and wants to keep it flourishing, whether she's in podcasts or running a publishing business, all the things. But I also love Morris Manning and Richard Taylor, kind of the OGs of the poet laureates are fantastic. And being able to even take a class from them, which is really cool. One cool opportunity, even when I was a teen howler myself, was seeing Ada Limon read at the Morris Bookshop.
That's
that
amazing.
was pretty fantastic.
Wow. Yeah. So Ada Limon, of course, the former poet laureate of the United States. Were you able to get published during your tenure?
Yeah, for myself. When I was a teenager, I haven't really published much, to be honest, but I was able to, I think, officially publish with the Young Writers Conference at the Carnegie Center.
Yeah.
So they had that opportunity at that time in the summer, and I worked on a poem with them, and I think we did an anthology at the time, so that was really neat. And then I just went on to try to do my own little publishing on myself.
And now you're the actual host of Teen Howl.
Yeah.
That's amazing that they were able to foster that love of poetry, and you were able to kind of carry on the tradition. And Teen Howl has been going on since 2011. That's a long time for a small organization just to keep going and continue to have life and continue to produce young howlers like Grace. So it's really amazing. So you're doing a great job.
Thanks, yeah.
Over there. Grace, can you talk to us a little bit about how you got involved with Teen Howl?
Yeah, so I remember my sophomore year of high school, around 2022-ish, or 2023, something like that. We had a open mic with SCAP, the Creative Writers Writing Program, had a open mic. And so I, entered my name in. I shared a couple poems there, but they told us about this place called Teen Howl. So for the longest time, I called it Teen Howl, not 3rd Street stuff. But I didn't get to go there until shortly after the graduation that year, around May, which was only a couple months, but I went, and it was instant love. I went in there. I think I shared one of the first poems I ever shared was Never Ending Story, which is based off the Lafayette graduation poem that had been read that year. I don't remember what the poem exactly was, but I wrote mine, and that's just like a core memory for me, reading there. And I've been with them ever since, other than the occasional missed months where I go to college and, come back for the summer. I do my best to go to every single one. I was actually just another feature in July, which is amazing. It was something I dreamed of for 3 years. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your journey when you started writing. Why poetry and not any other forms of writing?
Yeah, so I've always had a little love for the arts. When I was little, I started in dance, Irish step dance. I remember in 2nd grade, I actually grew up for the first kind of 8 years of my life in Virginia. So 2nd grade, my teacher used to do this thing where you could write little stories, and there would be time to share them with the class. And I remember starting this almost Fancy Nancy, because I loved her, kind of story. And it was about like a girl, Amy Lee. So that's just kind of my little short story writing. But I didn't really get into poetry until about 4th grade with my lovely 4th grade teacher, Miss Birmingham, who is now Mrs. Buchanan. But we had this poetry unit. And I don't think I have the journal anymore, but she ended up letting us all write a poem and put it in a little journal. And what really started for me was her belief in me. I got to put in 3 poems into that journal. If she has it, I want to read it again. But I think that was really the start of my poetry journey. And then it just grew from there. I kind of stopped writing in middle school. I went through a little bit of a bad mental health time and then picked back up freshman, sophomore year. And it's just been something consistent with me ever since. I would love to be a published author one day, and it's just something that's always stuck with me.
I'm sure it'll happen.
I hope.
It seems like you always had somebody there to help foster that love of writing.
Yes. I absolutely have.
Yeah, she's published in the anthology.
In the anthology.
Church clothes.
Yeah, and we have it here. It's called Smudged, Teen Howl Anthology 2025. Is this something that you guys try to do annually?
We would like to. So it's happened in the past about a couple years ago, and we wanted to resurrect that, and we were able to with a grant last year.
Nice.
But unfortunately, we didn't get the same grant again the following year, but we're hoping to get some funds to do that again. But if not, I think we're still going to try
to do it.
Because it was just a wonderful turnout. I mean, we had, I think it's 25 poets published in here.
Wow.
Which is kind of fantastic. I mean, I did have to bring cookies at one point. I had to trade a poem for a cookie. But, sometimes that works. Sometimes that works. But it's fantastic. It's such a range of poets in here. And to actually physically hold something of their work means so much, I think, to us and to everyone who's in this book, and the fact that they all got a free copy with it as well to take home was
I love that.
Great.
Back in April, we did a literary night, of course, part of the 250 Legs events, and we got to hear another member of Teen Howl read. So can you tell us about their journey as poet laureate? They were chosen as Young Poet Laureate. It was the first time I had heard of the Young Poet Laureate program through the Carnegie Center, so I was amazed that program was started by them. So
yeah, they're fantastic. Immediately when they started coming to Teen Howl Poetry Series, we were just wowed by her words. And they're not originally from here; they're from Miami, so they brought that with them and was eager to share where they're from, but also interesting to hear what it's like coming from a tropical background to
the
Miami,
Appalachian
or to Kentucky, but even though the humidity has felt closer to that lately, but. And so they got nominated for the Youth Poet Laureate position, and be able to. They're everywhere. They're saying yes to everything, which is awesome. They want now they're running that open mic series at the Carnegie. Even though I think they might be leaving for college, but they've already done so much for the poetry community here. There's nothing but good things about.
Yeah, I love that. What Teen Howl can bring to the community and be able to create those connections. Lexington definitely is a hotbed for creative talent. So I love that. So give us a little bit of background about how a young poet that's interested in joining Teen Howl, what can they do?
Yeah, we're on social media, so we're on Instagram. They could always come and follow us at Teen Howl Poets. We always post every month about the upcoming poetry event for that next month, including like the featured reader, and then also the Howler of the month. Like Grace, who comes a lot to Teen Howl, they have the opportunity to finally get picked to be the Howler of the month and have their own feature at the end. So that's also an awesome opportunity. They can find us on Instagram. I tried to send out emails to all the teachers in Fayette County. So, hey, check your emails. I don't do it in the summer, but I do it when we get back to school year. And then, but you can always just physically come find us. We're at 3rd Street Stuff downtown. It's the first Thursday of every month. Okay. 5:30, come in and start signing up. Get a drink at 3rd Street. It's happy hour until 6. So you can get like a half off latte, which is pretty great. And then at 6 p.m. we start, and it's just an hour long. It's pretty short and sweet, but we do a lot in that hour.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
What other things other than just reading do you offer? Workshops or like assistance with writing, classes, etc.?
Last year we were able to host some workshops with the grant. We did some in September last year. Hopefully we'll bring that back in some capacity. We've been using 3rd Street Stuff as a space for that workshop. We like being able to do that right before like the poetry deadline for the anthologies, just so they have the opportunity to work on a poem that they are interested in submitting.
That's amazing. I love that. So, Grace, you have a poem here in Smudged.
I do.
Do you have a poem that you'd like to share with us?
I
don't mind.
I very much do. Let me pull it up. Most of my poems I end up putting on my phone, just in a little doc I have. But this one I wrote, it's definitely a little bit of not touchy, but a little subject. It's called Hungover. Depending on who you are, your Sunday mornings are spent one of two ways. In a pew at church singing God's praises or chugging water and downing Tylenol to clean what's left of last night's party. I am the latter of the two. I'm wearing sunglasses inside, chugging my 3rd black coffee, throwing empty beer cans at my friends who dare to speak too loud. We divvy up the rooms. Of course, I get the basement because I'm the only one who can balance enough to walk down the stairs. I stare at the disaster-stricken room, forgotten vapes and blunts, half-empty cans knocked over, pieces of fake jewelry that will be dearly missed. Start with the pong table. We all carefully painted, each of us leaving ourselves on the beer-stained, chipped paint, highly unsanitary table. My corner had books and the Lady of Justice, because fairness and knowledge is what makes justice. Their corners are more trivial, one with diamonds and lipsticks, one with flowers and seashells, the final with paw prints and bikinis. This will need to be repainted, but what's the fucking point? We clean the cans and wipe the stains, only to throw another party and be best friends. But what's the fucking point? I down another Tylenol, I laugh and drink and smoke, then wake up the next day, and I'm no better than the day before. So what's the fucking point? Thank you.
Takes an experience that most college students go through, or high school students.
Yeah.
I love that. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I noticed that you write in your journal, like handwritten. Is there something that you think kind of inspires you a little bit more when you handwrite instead of like typing, or, getting something on your phone, your memo notepad on your phone?
Yeah, I think when I'm in a quick, rush, I write on my phone. It's just easier. But when I'm handwriting, it's like I'm actually putting how I feel and what I'm thinking on the paper. I'm actually controlling what is written. It's why I didn't write in pen for a long time, because I wanted to easily be able to erase it. But now writing in pen especially is crazy good for me. Like, I get the power to write something. I don't like it, cross it out. I have that power. Yeah. It's just a different sense of control over my thoughts and words. And for a long time, I didn't get that. But now I do.
It portrays more instinctually your flow of thoughts.
Yes, it very much does. Instead of having to backtrack because I typed a D instead of an H, it's a lot more, I guess, conscious. Yeah. It's a lot more conscious and instinctive.
Mm-hmm. And do you journal?
I do. I actually do journal. I do a little scrapbook journaling. It's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm curious about a writer's process. So, Jessica, do you write at a specific time of day, or do you just kind of, whenever the thought comes to you, write on a piece of napkin if that's the only means that you have?
Yeah, it's changed throughout the years. Right now, I need to make time for it. So if there is time, it's in the morning before I come up with more excuses than I can think, that are actually exist. So I like to write in the morning, and which is kind of nice to kind of reflect on things without the rest of the day clouding it. But sometimes night as well. The night is more of a journal kind of reflection moment.
Yeah.
But I really like just giving myself time to just write it down on a piece of paper or like my journal. Because if I start out on the computer, which sometimes I do, if the thought comes to me and that's what I have in front of me, but writing on the journal and then going to the computer the next day to do the drafting, because if I do it on the computer, I'm already drafting while I'm writing it at the same time, and that's not, sometimes that kind of can hurt you, and especially with that one magical line that you might have just kept in there if you didn't overthink about it so much. So
sometimes it's like that first instinctual thought, like Grace was talking about, is probably what's best.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on the podcast. I really appreciate it. When I learned about Teen Howl through you, Jessica, working with you, I was really fascinated by it. And when I found out it's been going on since 2011, I was really even more fascinated. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great conversation with Jessica and Grace. I really enjoyed talking to them. So for our book segment of the podcast, I have a few books that I am looking forward to read, and they're about to be published. But
it's quite the stack.
I know. It's a few months ago, I was saying, you know what? They've been sending me some really meh ARC books or advanced readers copies. But the past 2 times that I've received some really good ones. But my favorite one, actually, I got through NetGalley, which is, a website that you can get some advanced readers copies. Yeah. I got a copy of Jason Mott's new book called People Like Us. So he wrote a book called Hell of a Book beforehand, and I wish I had read that one first and then this one, but whatever. I'm going to start reading it next after this one. So Hell of a Book is written by Jason Mott, and it is about two writers. It's not a memoir, and he says that in his author's note in the beginning. He says that it's not a memoir, but there is an author's note at the beginning that starts with, "Whole fistfuls of this actually happened, sister," quote unquote. So it's a quasi sequel to his previous work, Hell of a Book, but it's not really a sequel. It's a different story about the main character, Suit. When you're reading it, you can't really tell what's real and what's fiction. It's kind of like a very flowy book. After reading it, you're like, I was trying to figure out how to write like my thoughts about the plot. And in all honesty, I can't tell you that there is an actual plot, but it's still a really good book. Yeah. It's really good. So even he says, they want you to know how much of what they're told is real and how much is imagined, which is a way of saying they want to know how much of the world in the book is the world in which they live in, because if they can know that, they can understand the things they see on the news each day a little bit better. So Mott, he's not, a big believer in a plot, but the book kind of like flows. It's poetic. You almost think that the main character is kind of hallucinating at times, but it's about two authors with very different paths in their careers, but their stories eventually do converge. And the book begins with the one of the authors. So he's the winner of the National Book Award. The big one, he calls it. And he's confronted in an alley by an armed assailant who announces to him that he's going to kill him. He survives that ordeal. Yeah. But then his agent tells him that there's a French billionaire who wants to bring him to Europe for a book tour. Meanwhile, the other author, his journey takes him to a college in a Minnesota campus who had just recently survived a shooting tragedy. So it kind of takes you on this journey between these two different stories. The writing is amazing. There's all kinds of emotions, all the feels, a lot of humor. A lot of it's quirky. A lot of it is like dark humor. Yeah. Sometimes you're laughing and like, oh my God, I can't believe I just laughed at that kind of thing. But there's also a lot of sadness. Deals, with a lot about, gun violence. These are African-American authors and the experience of the Black man in America, but also just the Black writer in their journey, because they can try to express their life in both storylines. Mm-hmm. A lot of questions about belonging and where home is, etc. So it was really, really good. I really enjoyed his writing, and I really want to read his previous work. So be on the lookout for that one. It's released August 5th. His first book was actually selected for a lot of book clubs books. I think one of them is Oprah, and I believe it was on the list for the National Book Award. Wow. One of the long lists. So some other books I brought that I'm looking forward to exploring is one called The Missing Pages by Allison Rickman. It is going to be on sale in October of this year. From international bestselling author Allison Rickman comes a love story, a ghost story, and a tribute to the healing power of books. Right up my street. So Harry Widener boards the Titanic, holding tight to a priceless book he found in London. After the ship strikes the iceberg, Harry's last known words are that he must return to his cabin for his treasure. Neither the young man nor the book will ever be seen again. In his honor, his mother builds the Harry Widener Memorial Library at Harvard to memorialize her son and house, his extensive book collection. Decades later, Violet Hutchins, a Harvard sophomore recovering from her own great loss, is working as a page at the Widener Library. When strange things begin happening at the library, books falling off shelves, opening to random pages, Violet wonders if Harry Widener's ghost is trying to communicate the missing pieces of his story from beyond the grave. Ooh. So if you like this kind of time travel and, fictionalized history, you're going to love this one.
Oh, yeah.
And then this one is called Blonde Dust. And it's by Tatiana de Rosnay. And this one also is sort of a fictionalized history, and it's about a young chambermaid, Pauline, who works at the legendary Mapes Hotel in Reno, Nevada. She's asked to step in for a colleague and to clean Suite 614. Although she was told the rooms were empty, a dazed, sleepy woman appears before her. This is Miss Miller, a.k.a. Marilyn Monroe, whose stay in Reno coincides with the breakdown of her marriage to Arthur Miller and the filming of what was to be her last movie, The Misfits. So this takes on like a rift of Marilyn Monroe's last days. Wow. So it's another good one. And then the one I'm really excited about is called Amity. It's by Nathan Harris. He is the author of The Sweetness of Water, which was a very popular book, one of Oprah's book club selections. He's an amazing author. He's winner of multiple awards and literary excellence awards, and he was longlisted for the Booker Prize in the Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Fiction. So I'm looking forward to this one. This one is also historical fiction. Do you recognize a theme here? What my genre of preference?
Yep.
August
is about historical fiction.
Exactly. New Orleans, 1866. The Civil War might be over, but formerly enslaved Coleman and June have yet to find the freedom that they've been promised. 2 years ago, the siblings were separated when their old master, Mr. Harper, took June away to Mexico, where he hoped to escape the new reality of the post-war South. Coleman stayed behind in Louisiana to serve the Harper family, clinging to the hope that one day June would return. When an unexpected letter from Mr. Harper arrives, summoning Coleman to Mexico, Coleman thinks that finally his prayers have been answered. What Coleman cannot know is the tangled truth of June's tribulations under Mr. Harper out on the frontier. And when disaster strikes Coleman's journey, he is forced to go on the run with Mr. Harper's daughter, Florence. Together, they venture into the Mexican desert to find June. As Coleman and June separately navigate perilous and parched landscape, the siblings learn quickly that freedom isn't always given. Sometimes it must be taken by force. So this is a really fascinating story. I think it's going to be a big hit. He kind of delves into the critical years of the, Civil War South and the aftermath to deliver an intimate and epic tale of what freedom means in a society still determined to return its Black citizens to bondage. Yeah, this one is going to be a good one. I think I'm going to definitely put this at the top of the stack. The final book is a nonfiction. It's called The Lafferty Girl, Surviving Trauma, Abuse, and My Father's Crimes. This is Rebecca Lafferty. She is the daughter of Dan Lafferty, who with his brother Ron, I'm sure that people have heard about this story from years ago. They are self-proclaimed prophets of a fundamentalist group that were driven by their radical messianic beliefs to commit brutal murders. So basically, these two brothers, they abused women. They committed religiously motivated murders of Rebecca's aunt and her infant cousin. Of course, this actual crime was profiled in John Krakauer's book and FX Hulu series Under the Banner of Heaven. I believe the book was released back in 2004, 2005, but you can watch the series on Hulu. But this is Rebecca's story. So this is her memoir. It's riveting and living with the pain of having to carry that.
Absolutely.
And come out of it, uplifted. And so this is her journey about how she kind of breaks that cycle of intergenerational violence and trauma. If you're into that, you'll find this one very fascinating. So it is out in September of 2025. And I forgot to mention that Amity is also going to be released in September of this year. So
great.
Look forward to that one.
Get on those hold lists.
Yep. It'll be in the catalog soon. So
yay!
What do you got going on for us at the library?
Let's talk about book clubs.
My favorite.
Yes. So Northside has a cookbook club called Bite Club, which I love. Like, do we talk about Bite Club? Yes, we do. So the theme is Orange You Glad It's Fruit edition. They'll be talking about fruit this month. So you can come and see a variety of the cookbooks there. And it's to help you get out of your cooking comfort zone.
Yeah, I love that. They, you don't have to stick to one cookbook. They usually do themes. So you can choose your own cookbook. And, there's good food to share and good conversation and lovely people to meet. So.
And it says, if you want to come to this one, bring a sweet or a savory fruit dish. Members can choose a recipe from the cookbooks provided or use your own to contribute a potluck item. Nice. First-timers can just come to taste, discuss, and enjoy. So don't feel like if you've not come before that you have to cook to come.
Yeah, if you just want to check it out, stop by.
They're happy to have you. So that is on Sunday, August 3rd from 2 to 3:30 p.m. here at Northside in the large meeting room. Eastside Book Club has The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell for their August meeting. That's Tuesday, August 5th at 5:30. And then the Mystery Community back to Northside. It's the Mystery Book Club. That's Thursday, August 7th at 6. And this month they are reading Shari LaPena's Everyone Here is Lying. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a fun one. Hooked on Books is Mythology versus Folklore. So that one, you don't have to read a specific book, just on theme and come talk about it. That's Saturday, August 9th at 3 at Beaumont. Yep. And then we have one for kids called Chapters and Chatter. And that one's going to have some registration just so they can get a head count. We have Monday, August 18th from 4 to 5 at Eastside Branch. It's a book club for teens, so 8 to 11. And the book this month is Growing Pangs by Catherine Ormsby. And then we've got the Early Bird Book Club at Tate's Creek. This month it's Empress of the Nile by Lynn Olson. And that's Wednesday, August 20th at 9 a.m. And we've got Cult Classics Book Club. It's Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma by Claire Detterer.
Oh, that's a good one.
And that one is at West 6 Brewing on Wednesday, August 20th at 6. And then we've got finally the Check Me Out Book Club, which is held at the Humane Society. It's Thursday, August 21st at 6. And this book is The Curious Kitten at the Chibineko Kitchen.
And that's another one of my favorite book clubs. It's all cat themed. So every book has a cat in it somehow, some way. And it's just a lot of fun. And we've had a few cats being adopted.
Yes, so
since they
it's
meet
been
at
a great success in that regard.
We love it. It's great.
It's really fun.
Yeah, and if you want to come to any of these book clubs, we provide the books at the book club. They hand them out. Or you can check out your own copy if you want. So, yes, so the books are provided. No need to buy your own. So, yep.
And then one more I want to highlight is happening at Northside and at Marksbury. That's using herbs for iced tea. The Northside edition is going to be held on Thursday, August 7th at 4 o'clock. And you're going to learn how to make iced tea with different kinds of herbs. And they're going to provide the herbs while you learn. And then we've got the Marksbury session is Thursday, August 21st at 5:30.
Oh, that's so cool. Some hibiscus iced tea sounds good right about now with this heat.
It does.
Yeah, that's exciting. Exciting month for programming.
We've got a lot of cool books. We've got a lot of cool
programs.
Book clubs. So come check us out.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Yeah. We hope to have you join us for the next episode.
Yes, we'll catch you next month.
Thank you for tuning in to Turning the Page. If you enjoyed listening, there will be more to come. So please give us a follow so that you don't miss the next episode.
We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.